was an inferior model.
You'll join him on the scrappy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see at the thumbnail, this is part 2 and the final review for Mortal Kombat. I did a review, which if you follow the channel and you stumbled upon it, I did a movie review with Suspect and the boys and how they watched it and how I watched it. Then I found out the person who I started all this with went and watched it as well, and I completely forgot to ask him if he wanted to do one. So, this is his side of the story. It's mainly going to be him. I want him to voice his movie review bone a little bit, and yeah. So, JamSaw, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, man. I'm happy to be here and to talk about stuff other than wrestling. You know, like there's tons of shit that I'm interested in that I like to talk about and don't really get the opportunity or have the outlet. So I thought this would be the perfect way to start. The first thing I do want to say is we should say spoilers to anybody that might be listening to this one in case you haven't seen it yet. We'll
Yes.
probably be talking about some story points and stuff that will ruin it for you. So I think you should maybe go out and see it first.
Yes.
And in that regard, I do want to start with two things.
Okay.
Just to warn people, in my personal feeling, I felt the movie was more like a prologue. You'll understand why later on when I talk about it, but it felt more like a prologue than an actual first chapter of a series.
I would agree.
And overall, I think I would still give it probably a 7.5.
Okay.
And you'll hear why throughout. But if all you really wanted to do was hear where I score it and be intrigued by my my thoughts on it, well, that's how we'll start.
So I want to ask you a few questions that me and the guys didn't really address. So if you watch this, you're either some form of a fan of Mortal Kombat series. Either you're an action fan or you actually followed it and played the video games. Is this a movie to go into judging from the movie in the 90s, or and is this movie rewatchable in your opinion?
Well, I'll answer your second question first. Yes, I think this is definitely worth a rewatch for several reasons. One is just the little Easter eggs. I caught only a couple throughout it, but I read online about more and more. And sometimes with certain movies, you do need to watch it more than once to catch all the little bits and pieces, or you might catch something you missed. Or
Correct.
If you're like me and you have pets, maybe you got up to let the dog out and might have missed a tiny clip of something that you can recapture on a rewatch. And what was the first part you used?
I asked you if this is a movie that you really should. If this is a movie you should go into judging from one of the original movies, or is this a movie you should go in with no expectations?
I definitely would say go in with not no expectations, but without assuming.
Okay.
Don't try to assume that it's just a remake of the old one, and that it's going to follow like the exact same story progression.
Okay.
Test. Sorry, I thought
Yes.
my mic went out.
Nope, you're fine.
Yeah. So definitely that's the way that I felt it progressed.
Okay. So then let's jump into the questions. Favorite fight scene?
My favorite fight scene, I do have to say, at the end, when Scorpion and Sub-Zero were fighting, I did hear the other day some of the comments of some of the other guys, and while, yeah, I do think the speed up and stuff, for people that are like really into hardcore martial arts films, that might be a nitpicky thing.
Okay.
But overall, I kind of liked it, because you have to think they're also supernatural beings, so that kind of quick jump cut is like they're flashing. You know, they're so fast you don't really even see or anticipate a movement. You get lost in the blur.
But see, I feel like judging an action film like that due to its jump cut is the same as people who... Now, I know this is not the same thing, but the people who complain about the Power Rangers, how they would morph separately on screen, but if you put it into the context, they're doing it together. They're just separating it for the audience sake. So those quick splits are for the audience sake, but in their universe, it's happening in real life. Like, yeah.
Indeed, man. I totally agree with you on that. So yeah, for me, I think that was my favorite fight. There were some great fights too. I mean, like you guys addressed it too in yours already. Kung Lao's finisher on that fucking match.
That was, yeah.
I mean, a big disappointment. Like he brought her in like from the rafters. It's like bring in the deadliest beast. They'll never stand against us. She lasted like 2 seconds.
Yep.
You blink and you missed her friggin' Livy. I thought that was somewhat disappointing. I know it's Mortal Kombat, but I didn't think every fight had to end in a fatality.
Yeah.
You know, it might have been neat to see some people get away. And I mean, part of what happened with the black smoke at the end, there's a possibility for certain people coming back. I have a feeling. I think Kano too. We didn't see black smoke on him. I have a feeling we'll see him back with a robot face. He will no longer have the what do they call it?
The laser eye.
Yeah. He no longer has that, but maybe he'll have a real laser eye.
Yeah. So then let me ask you to go off that. In your opinion, what was the worst fight scene that you saw?
The first one where Cole lost.
Really, I loved that fight. But I guess I preferred the real fighting versus, you know, the flashiness is all cool and all that, but because I practice what I practice, I like the cage fighting, which was.
I like the cage fighting style, but I mean, if my daughter was looking at me in the face and going, "Don't tap,"
Yeah, yep.
I wouldn't tap.
Yep.
To me personally, I don't know. I would probably just end up passing out, whatever, from the hold, but I would not tap if my daughter was looking at me like that.
Favorite and least favorite character?
Well, I mean, everybody's favorite character seems to be Kano, and I do dig him. He is kind of cool.
Yep.
But I mean, honestly, I really did dig Sonya.
Yes.
The actress that got to play Sonya was tough and strong. She went through all the bullshit and adversity. Went and friggin' got her power from Kano. Like, I was expecting that was going to happen a lot sooner, to be honest with you.
Right.
I thought when they were like, only people with the mark can be here. Okay, you're dead now. Just give me the fucking mark. But, yeah, I'm happiest about seeing her move forward. Least favorite character, let me think about that. Well, I think probably Reptile.
Yes.
We did him wrong.
I was gonna ask you about him a little bit later, but yeah. So give your opinion on Reptile, and then I'll ask you my question about Reptile that I was gonna ask you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did hear what you were talking about with Reptile, and I agree with you too. Like him being portrayed 100% lizard. I mean, he's a fucking ninja too, right?
Yes.
He's a ninja with like lizard-type capabilities. I did like the fight scene, like you guys talked about too. I did love the Kano flare bit to catch it, and the fact that all three of them worked together to beat him, and it took 3 people to beat him. But again, it's like, to me, who played the old games, you're releasing people from like the 3rd game already.
Yeah.
Before finishing the 1st. It's like you didn't need to throw characters from future installments that quickly. You could have rolled it up. But I mean, I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it a little different. That's why we didn't see all the same standard people we would.
Yes.
But we see, it wasn't Cyrax. What is the other bad ninja guy with the hook swords?
Oh, Noob Saibot?
No, that's not his name. Is Cabal? Cabal.
Oh, Cabal. Yes. I thought they were talking about. I thought you asked me what is the character that has the hook and everything. I thought you were reaching out other than, but yeah, yes, Cabal. Opinions on Cabal.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I kind of like the idea of him, but again, he's more of a character from future installments that I don't think needed to be brought to the forefront yet. And I mean, the Goro fight, I loved the Goro fight, but it was like you had him killed off too quickly.
Yes, that was one of my biggest problems. Same with what they did with they in DC in the Suicide Squad. They had Killer Croc They made him 5'5" and all that, but he's like a 7-foot dude. Like, come on.
Tank.
Yep. So then,
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what the. Well, I mean, not to get too distracted, but I am looking forward to seeing what the new Suicide Squad is going to bring them.
Yes, I will be giving that a chance. I mean, you got to give every movie a chance.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So then let me.
And the next thing I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna tell you honestly, is Nobody, because I love John Wick, and this is like a John Wick type thing where he's like a, a slacker nobody, and, Mr. Nobody that people disregard, and then something snaps and he becomes the hit assassin he used to be.
Yeah.
I love that kind of shit.
So let me ask you a question I didn't ask the guys. If you could replace somebody from the original installments to make this movie better, who do you think you would substitute out?
Like on the hero side, villain side, or one of each?
It doesn't. One character from either side. One character from either side.
One character from either side. Well, I would have loved to see fucking Johnny Cage, honestly.
Okay.
To me, Johnny Cage should be part of the origin story. I know, spoilers again, at the end that the next one's going into there. But I mean, that's, again, one of the problems that I had where this felt more like a prologue than the actual movie. I mean, shit. When everybody gets together, there's a time crunch. Oh no, the tournament's almost upon us. And the Outworld is invading Earth to try to cheat and kill people before the tournament can start. The tournament never fucking happens. You have a Mortal Kombat movie without the tournament.
Right.
So this was really just a prologue. It's not even like a prequel. It's a prologue. It's like if you're reading a book, that first chunk that's trying to hook you, that's what we saw.
Yes.
And the rest is going to be a story.
Yes.
The rest will be an actual tournament. Like, we gather the actual fighters that are going to go into the ring and go to the first tournament. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And it's a neat premise and a neat idea, and I'm willing to accept it like that. But in my head, this isn't a Mortal Kombat movie. This is a get ready for the Mortal Kombat movie.
Right. This is like the weigh-ins before the actual fight.
Exactly, man. This is the prove yourself. Can you hang?
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for this? And I was really hoping they would throw back the old Mortal Kombat music. I know they did a little bit in the credits at the end. Or near the end of the movie, there was a remix version that was not quite as good as the old one, but I would have loved to hear them just do that old techno one once.
Yes. Is there besides the now I want I gotta go back with you on the whole Goro thing. So before we started recording this, we had discussed a few days ago certain topics that we were going to jump on without spoiling it for each other, and we had discussed how Goro is I keep getting their names mixed up. Shang Tsung. Goro is Shang Tsung's huge ass bear wall that people have to fight over. Do you like how Goro was so easily killed so fast, or
No.
and should he have fought somebody else?
Well, I mean, I think maybe he should have fought somebody else first and fucked them up or killed them, just to show that he was so strong before the Chosen One comes in and destroys him.
Okay.
And I mean, I understand that it was that was the challenge that took to ignite his fucking chi or whatever so that he could do his superpower bullshit.
Yeah.
I get where they were going with that. But, I mean, if he had defeated Goro, that's fine. But I don't think he should have killed him. I don't think he should have chopped off his arm.
No.
Maybe fucking, he could have called Raiden, and Raiden would have fucking opened a portal somewhere and you kick him through. He's gone. Your family's safe.
Yeah.
But, I'm not the director, I'm not the writer, and given the little smoke trick, I have a feeling there's still going to be a way they can come back. Maybe instead of a hand, you'll have a fucking... Maybe it'll be like, what's that, Mordor games, where the Nemesis keeps coming back?
Yeah.
They'll stitch his head back on, and his fist will be a fucking cleaver or something.
So then, So then, back to the first part. Do you think they should have brought him in for the first movie?
I don't think so. I think he should have been part of the tournament.
Okay.
I definitely think he should have been the step-up boss or the underboss to Shang Tsung for the actual tournament. I mean, he should have been held back like that. Like, you don't fucking send in Darth Vader when you can just send in a fleet of bombers to take out somewhere, right?
Right.
You send in Darth Vader because there's a specific mission you have to do. And I mean, I guess I kind of get if Cole is this prophesized chosen one, then yes, you might send your strongest person after him.
But he was just...
time, you don't send your strongest guy. You send your fucking ninja. You know, someone stealthy to try to take him out.
So I was gonna save this for the end, but since we keep bringing him up, just like I asked the guys in the first part of the review, I'm gonna ask you, Cole Quinn. How would you rate him? So 3 parts to this. Cole Quinn. Do you like the idea that he was a OC creation? Part 2, rate him on a scale of 1 to 10. And part 3, was he really necessary for the prologue film?
Well, I will rate him again at probably about a 7. I do think, well, maybe not necessary. He was an interesting direction to bring the story. You know, to have a unique character, because that way you don't have to get stuck into those tropes, and you can go in other directions with certain things. And it's kind of cool. You create this character. Mortal Kombat 12 is probably going to come out in a year. Guess who's going to be in that fucking game? Probably.
True.
It's a perfect tie-in. It's merchandising. It's marketing. It's brilliance. You know, if it takes off. And so far, it looks like with the box offices and everything that it did very well. I'm hoping it does enough to generate the sequels, because I am so sick of seeing things start and not go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people that I watched the fucking Avatar, the Airbender movie that Shyamalan did. I didn't hate it. I just hated that it stopped where it stopped, and you didn't have a continuation to finish off the story, at least. I'm very open to overlook certain things that are wrong in a movie if the rest of it feels okay.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the ones that is like that. But I mean, I'm also a really shitty movie. I'm not gonna fucking give a thumbs up, you know. But
right.
I can be pretty generous sometimes and let certain things go and suspend disbelief just for something that was interesting. And I didn't hate it. It was not my favorite movie, but I would have watched more. I wouldn't have gone to the theater for it. I'd wait for Netflix or something.
So, when I asked you, was he necessary for the story, your response is,
yes, for this story that they were telling, it was very necessary, because it made him the central character point, and why it was such a big deal.
Okay.
Because of the prophecy, and the fact that Outworld had cheated in their past few matches because they were worried about this prophecy. It added that bit of gravitas. And I thought he acted it pretty well. I think he did a pretty good job with what he was given. He was pretty decent with action, and more than that, I actually gave a shit about the character. You know? And I think that's the most important thing. If you actually care about the motivation, like when he lost his daughter and his wife was trapped in ice and shit.
Oh God, yeah.
That was great, and he was pounding at the ice trying to break her free. I was like, fuck, yeah.
I mean, that's where...
He didn't care Sub-Zero's there. He's right behind you. But he's like, I don't care. I'm going to try to save my wife.
See, that's where, you know, I feel a lot of characters who get hate. Like, again, how I mentioned in mine and your Last of Us 1 and 2 thing. I said I sided with Peter Quill, and so did you, because that was somebody that he loved. I don't get how... There's a lot of people who get shit for being, like, a caring person like that. Like, someone, like, a lot of fans would be like, oh, I would have fought Sub-Zero and then saved him, or I would have let Thanos...
time's wasting. They're freezing, man. They're stuck in that ice. You gotta get them out as quickly as possible. You don't think about that. You think about your... Actually, I don't know. Maybe some people do, but my instinct is family. You know, I like an immediate family first, beyond anything else. Like my wife, my daughter, if they were, I would be doing that. My hands would be bleeding from punching ice.
Oh yeah, So then let's jump to Raiden. I asked Suspect, who is a major Raiden fan. I asked him these questions, and I'm going to ask you. Raiden in past movies, in past games, is known to be a major douchebag. I don't want to say he's only looking out for himself or whatever, but with all that bundled together of what you know about Raiden, would you have used the same actor, and do you think they portrayed Raiden properly?
Well, they portrayed him better than the originals. At least they cast an Asian person this time
Right.
instead of Christopher Lambert. And nothing against Christopher Lambert. I love the Highlander movies. I love a lot of his old action stuff, but he is not who I would have picked for Raiden. I would have picked someone Asian, and unfortunately, I do agree. His was a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
He didn't quite have the mood. I could picture a couple Asian actors. I don't know them by name, but I know from movies I've seen them in that would have done a much better role.
Yeah.
I think even like Jet Li. Jet Li would be a fucking awesome Raiden, I think.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, the other guy too. I've seen him in other stuff, and he's a fantastic actor. I didn't feel Raiden as much.
Okay. So, all right. So we are approaching the end of this review. Is there anything? So we still got time, sir. But we're approaching near the end. So I'm going to ask you: is there anything you have that you wish people, fans of all ages and fans that are just starting out, is there something about the film that you wish that people could know about that are just simply missing?
Yeah, just this is not a Mortal Kombat tournament. They don't go to the tournament. This is a build-up to it. This is like a story. They're trying to make a saga out of this. They're trying to go kind of Star Wars with it, They want to build it out into chapters that actually mean something. So give it a shot. Not everybody's going to like it. There's always going to be some people that critique it. It is very actiony, and like I said, it's a so out there story. You have to have a lot of suspension of disbelief. That there's this other world that's trying to invade ours and stuff. But I mean, if you can just turn that stuff off and just enjoy a cheesy kind of dialogue story with some good action in it, man, and some good special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Although the one thing I have to agree with. I think it was Retro who commented on fucking Jax's power was getting extra metal on his arm. I'm like, fuck, yeah, I agree on that one. That's fucking bullshit. He got ripped off.
Oh.
Literally.
Yeah, seriously.
His arms, they were ripped off.
But, alright guys, me and JamSaw will be doing more reviews. Leave a comment below of what film you want us to review, whether it's old or whether it's new. We would love to do more stuff like this for you guys. But with that being said, guys, I hope you liked this. Again, this is the final review with a lot of my friends that I love dearly. I loved their inputs. But JamSaw, Season 2 of our GM mode is starting soon. Please stick by with us. It's coming in a matter of weeks. And with that being said, guys, me and JamSaw will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Peace.
Peace.